In this tutorial, you will learn how to deal with pre-pigmentation, taking bleach blonde back to a deep brown.
My name is Tracy Hayes. Due to popular demand, today I'm going to be showing you some typical colour correction techniques that you all may often find yourselves in a salon situation. For these colour techniques, I'm using a block that many colour houses also use to teach their own students. The block has been broken up into 4 segments. In each segment, we'll be showing you a different technique for colour correction. The first technique that we'll be doing is all about pre-pigmentation. Here you can see we have bleached pre-lightened hair and wanting to go to a deep chocolate brown. The key skills with this technique will be about your colour choice for your pre-pigmentation, the application, and then finally the colour choice of your final colour. Okay, to pre-pigment, depending on your colour house, you could use a number of products. Whether it's mixed tones from your permanent range, it could be semi-permanents, or it could be, as I'm using, more of a colour enhancer, which is just a product that would normally only last 6 to 8 washes. It's purely depending on what product you use. But all we need to do really is put back the red or copper pigment back into the hair before we apply the brown tint.
Application of pre-pigment colour. The pre-pigment colour is a colour enhancer. A level 6 with a red mahogany tone.
Because I'm going for a really deep chocolate brown, I'm using a very strong red to pre-pigment the bleached hair. If, for example, I wanted to go for a lighter brown, maybe on the base of a 6 to a 7, I wouldn't use such a strong red, as that would overpower the brown, but maybe just more of a copper red. But the most important thing is, because all the hair has lost all its natural pigment, you must put the pigment back into the hair before you apply your brown tint. If you didn't, you're going to end up with a very green-based finished result, because there's no red, copper or gold pigment in the hair. Depending on what product you're using, you may prefer to apply this technique on at the backwash, because the product, for example, I'm using is a little bit more runny. It is entirely a personal preference of what you would like to do. Once the colour has been applied, I would leave it either to the manufacturer's instructions if you're using something with a low peroxide, or in this case if it's just like a colour enhancer, at least 20 minutes. Also, if the bleached hair is really very porous, occasionally I wouldn't even rinse it out, but with a hairdryer I would dry the product in and then apply my final colour directly over the top. You may have noticed that I'm not applying the hair on the roots, and that's simply because that hair isn't bleached. It's sort of a natural level of about an 8. When you're applying the colour, again, really work it into the hair. Make sure you've got plenty of product, comb it through, and always a little bit of massage in, so you know you've got the colour really work through that porous hair very, very well. I would always tell my clients when doing a technique like this, I wouldn't be able to guarantee that the hair would stay, the final colour would stay permanently. It's all due to the porosity of the hair. So possibly, every few weeks they might need to come in and just have a semi put on it, just to keep the final ultimate colour and shine there, so the hair is looking still fabulous, the final result. Okay, so my semi there is applied. That I'm going to leave for 20 minutes, and then I'll probably just give it a very short rinse out.
Now revise Tracy's method and try it on your own block, mindful of points to watch. 1. On bleached hair, it is essential to put the pigment back into the hair, otherwise you'll end up with a green-based result. 2. Tracy uses a strong red as a foundation pigment for a deep chocolate brown. 3. If you're trying to achieve a softer brown, you would apply a copper red as a foundation pigment. A strong red would overpower the lighter brown. 4. Ensure the product is evenly distributed throughout the hair by applying product to the underneath as well as the top of the section, then combing through and massaging. 5. Depending on product consistency, you may choose to apply your colour at the backwash for cleanliness and ease. 6. Please note, if the hair is very porous, Tracy recommends that you do not rinse out the colour wash, but instead dry it in with a hairdryer. 7. Be mindful of the manufacturer's recommended processing time. Checking the pre-pigment result.
Okay, so after 20 minutes, just seeing how that colour has deposited, and that's absolutely fine. You've got like a real sort of vibrant red there. So I'm going to rinse this off. As I said, if the hair is really quite porous and you're a bit worried about the condition, then I would actually dry that in. But in this case, I'm going to rinse.
The final application. 3/4 of 40 and 1/4 of 5/77 and 6%.
Okay, so you can see here the red pigment that we applied has deposited very well. So now I'm going to go in with my colour choice, which is going to be like a very rich deep brown. I'm using a level 4 with some brunette, a little bit of brunette tone in there. And the application can be roots and just straight through to the ends. Okay, so just applying the final section. And I would leave, as this is a permanent tint, I'm using it with 6%. As I said, it's on level 4 with a little bit of brunette tone in there. And I would leave it for development time. In this case, it'll be 35 minutes. Okay, so you can see here the finished result of what originally was bleached hair with a very small regrowth. We pre-pigmentated using red, a strong pure sort of tone from Colour Enhancer, a colour that would last 6 to 8 washes, left for about 20 minutes, and then tinted over that using a level 4 with a level 5 with brunette tone, and you've just got this nice, again, quite a sort of a deep chestnut brown with lots of shine, and a complete change from the bleached hair.
Now revise Tracy's method and try it on your own block, mindful of points to watch. 1. Ensure that the red pigment is evenly distributed. 2. Be generous with your product application. 3. Ensure even distribution of product.